Hi everyone, I'm Taylor. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing The XX album, I See You. The XX are an English indie rock trio who have just released their third full-length LP. This record, for the greater part of a year, has had so much buzz and news
flying around the internet about it.
Basically since early last year when band member Jamie XX released his debut album in color. When that LP dropped, Jamie XX in a number of interviews has been quoted, the sound that he produced and crafted on his record would heavily inform the XX album. Since making those statements, a lot of speculation has occurred over what direction the new sound of the XX would take. What kind of tone, instrumentation, what color would this new XX record sound like? The XX are known for a toned down, heavily minimal, instrumentally stark sound. This sound has gone on to influence a huge number of bands and artists since the release of their first self-titled LP, The XX. Their first album went on and gained wide critical acclaim as well as commercial success. Their second full-length album, Coexist, built off of that sound with slightly more complex, slightly more colorful arrangements, as well as somewhat of a more upbeat tempo. I wouldn't call it danceable, but a lot of their songs do have more of a beat. Both of these albums were extremely successful, and while there are a handful of tracks and singles off of both of them that I absolutely love, I was not blown away by either of them. I thought that the sound they were going for was a little bit melodramatic, emotional, very introspective, and somewhat saccharine, and I could tell immediately the tone that they were trying to convey. However, I don't think they 100% succeeded. It seemed a little bit forced to me. With this backdrop, I had pretty high hopes for I See You. When Jamie XX released In Color, that was an album that I really enjoyed. I thought that the production value on that record was incredible. There were a number of songs on there that I listened to quite frequently. It wasn't my favorite album of the year or anything, but I did think that it bode well for the future sound of the XX. After giving I See You a cursory listen, Jamie XX's production influence is obvious. He has helped to give the band a more mainstream electronic tinge to their sound. On this record, Jamie XX has employed a number of samples from older artists like Hall & Oates. He also utilizes a very interesting set of synths and other electronics that really add a unique flavor to this album. So many of the songs, even from the first few seconds, you can just tell that this is going to be just absolute ear candy. But regardless, I don't think that Jamie XX's new added production work adds enough excitement, flavor to the XX on this album that it will remain interesting long term. A lot of the songs, although gorgeously produced and recorded, just don't hold my attention. There's also a few too many songs on here that just sound like they could have come straight from their first two LPs. There's no evolution there. There's nothing different being brought to the table. The vocals on this album, from a recording and quality standpoint, are excellent. I think that Rami Madley Croft and Oliver Sim have honed their voices over the last year or so, and they have delivered some really cool, captivating performances. But lyrically on this thing, it's a little too much for me. Some of the songs are so over-the-top sappy that it was distracting. The tone and the imagery reflected in the writing, specifically in the tracks Brave for You and Performance, were just a little bit cringeworthy to me. I understand this feeling that they're going for, and I'm sure that reflects a lot of personal experiences for them as a band. You know, over the past year, the XX has put out a number of media pieces and interviews discussing some of the experiences and trials that they've gone through together as a band. And these tracks talk a lot about putting on a brave face despite overwhelming odds or tribulations. But I just don't think that the delivery and the final writing of the lyrics nailed it. At the end of the day, this record was a fun listen. I do think it will be a commercial success. I think that there will probably be a pretty large number of music critics that rate it fairly highly. For me, though, I definitely feel that it's the weakest of the 3 albums they've put out. The lyrical content is a little bit shallow, and the production, although beautiful and wonderful to listen to, does seem a little bit forced onto the band, especially considering that they haven't moved past a lot of what I consider are their writing problems. And the vinyl for this thing is gorgeous. I mean, I've seen pictures of this floating around online for the past month or so, but I just went to my local record shop last night where they had a number of copies, and it's awesome. It's amazing. I loved the mirrored effect on the gatefold. And I do think that the XX, very intentionally, were trying to send some kind of an artistic message with the graphic design work for the vinyl sleeve. You know, when you look at it, you can make out a reflection, but it's quite blurry. It looks exactly like the album cover, the official album art that they have listed on Spotify and iTunes. Maybe at the end of the day, with a lot of these lyrics and a lot of the message coming out of this album is that, you know, this album is a reflection of not just us as the band, but us as people. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just making shit up at this point. For this record, I am definitely feeling a 6.1, 6.2. It's a decent record. It's worth a listen. I'm sure we'll be hearing a number of the singles on the radio possibly, but it won't be something that I will be adding to my personal collection or really giving a lot of time to this year. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it, and let me know in the comments what you think about this album. Thanks for watching.